Good day, friends. In this video, I'm going to show you how to unlock your full combat potential in Fortnite Chapter 4 Zero Build mode. Now I'm going to give you 9 combat tips plus a bunch of extras, but the last training section is really going to be the key to learning them. So be sure to watch the whole video and use the final training tip regularly. If you find this video helpful and you want to see more, remember to subscribe and leave a like on the video. All right, let's jump in. The best foundation to begin winning more fights in Fortnite Zero Build is to always find an advantage in any fight. Unless you're insanely skilled at the game, you should always try to use your equipment and your surroundings to have a leg up in the fight. If you don't have an advantage in the fight and you have a little bit of time, then you need to move positions or change your equipment to get the advantage in the fight. What we're really trying to avoid is a 50-50 coin flip to find out who's the better aimer or who has the better internet connection. Our first tip starts with positioning and cover. The best way to take less damage in a fight is to hide the majority of your body while the enemy is shooting at you. That sounds obvious, but really often I will see people ego challenge players when they clearly have a disadvantage in the fight. And I found myself doing this as well. The key is you need to always stay near cover. If you're moving across large open areas, do it quickly while moving from cover to cover. If you're in combat, stay near cover. That way, if you're ever caught by surprise, you can just fall back into cover and figure out what you're going to do next. You also want to master the right shoulder peek. In Fortnite, your weapon is on the right side of your body, so you should always try to peek out from the right side of cover to give yourself an advantage or an equal footing in the fight. That way you don't have as much of your body exposed to the enemy in the fight, and you can quickly dip back into cover. After you've mastered the right shoulder peek, you'll want to begin using what is called a head glitch. Don't ask me why it's called a head glitch, it's a lot less complicated than it sounds. A head glitch is simply poking just the tip of your head out from behind cover until you can see the enemy, but all they can see is your head, which makes it very difficult for them to hit you because the target is so small, but you can see their entire body. The next part of positioning and cover is high ground. But keep in mind, not all high ground is equal. Good high ground gives you the ability to use the head glitch or back all the way into cover so that no one can see you. Bad high ground is slanted or leaves you exposed from other angles. For instance, if you're on the edge of a slanted roof, you can't see a player that's straight below sitting against the wall, but if they jump up, they can see you for a moment and shoot you, but you can't see them anymore. So while you have the high ground, you're actually at a disadvantage because they have more cover than you. Tip number 2, before entering a fight, always observe your surroundings and notate possible exits and good spots for cover or to hide if things go sideways to a third party arriving to finish you off. This is stuff like nearby vehicles to escape with, defensible positions, and places to hide like bushes. If you make observing your surroundings a habit before entering fights, I promise you your survival rate is going to skyrocket. You need to keep an eye on the storm circle and then look at your surroundings and look for good high ground positions that you can hold for a minute or two at a time without being snuck up on. This allows you to challenge enemies from height with natural, unbreakable cover that you can use as a head glitch. Tip number 3 is length of combat. And when I say length, I mean time and distance. Now, ideally, you want to keep most of your fights to medium or long range until you get an advantage in the fight, and then close the gap quickly to finish it. Finishing fights quickly is very important because in Chapter 4, everyone has a shockwave hammer or a shockwave bow or impulses, and there's a lot of steep terrain on a pretty small map that makes it easy to be snuck up on. Third parties happen all the time, so finish your fights quick. Don't be caught in long-range fights out in the open for more than 20 seconds because you can be sure that someone's going to hear those gunshots and they're going to be on their way to clean up the fight. So it's important to get good assault rifle tags on your opponent before pushing them. Once you've at least cracked their overshield, you can then shockwave hammer onto them and engage in close-range combat with an advantage. Now, once you're the victor of the fight, you need to loot as quickly as possible and move into cover to heal up. I would estimate that 50% of fights bring another third party in to kill the previous victor. Everyone likes finishing off a weak opponent, so don't let it be you. Also, remember that your life is far more important than some loot, especially when it comes to just upgrading your weapons. Grab healing items first and then get out because you can always come back to the loot once you've healed up, and there's a good chance an enemy is on his way. Tip number 4, landing on enemies. Now, there are a lot of mobility options in Chapter 4 that allow you to jump onto a player and take them by surprise or close a gap quickly. and those items should definitely be utilized often. But you need to be smart about the way that you shockwave onto people or take them by surprise. You don't want to be landing out in the open in front of them unless they are really hurt. Otherwise, they're going to gun you down while you're out in the open and they're behind cover, or they're going to put a ton of damage on you as you fly through the air towards them. A falling target coming straight at you is a very predictable target and pretty easy to hit. So when you shockwave or jump onto enemies, you always want to try to launch over them or to the side of them so that they have to track you in the air and have a difficult time finding you once you land. As long as you track your enemy while you're flying through the air, you're going to have the advantage if you land behind them or to the side of them, because they won't know exactly where you are, but you have your eyes on them the whole time. So get comfortable using your mobility items and then master your launch landings to make things hard for your opponent. Tip number 5 is about turning fights around. In Fortnite, you can usually turn a losing fight around by making the fight awkward enough for your enemy or making them frustrated enough that they make a mistake. You just need to create enough space between your enemy that they lose sight of you, and then you can take them by surprise or heal up. Space is your friend whenever you're at a disadvantage in a fight. Things like slap juice or extra mobility can help you achieve this. You need to have more mobility than your enemy, otherwise they're just going to stay right on your tail and you won't have the opportunity to make a play unless you can go stealth and lose them. This is a trick I use in Halo all the time, and it works great in Fortnite as well. Frustrate your opponent and make them chase you. The enemy always thinks they have the advantage and they just need to chase you down and finish you off. But in reality, the advantage usually goes to the person getting chased, because the person who's chasing them is not worried about dying and all they want to do is finish off their kill. They're prone to make mistakes, and that opens up big opportunities if you can take advantage of those mistakes. This allows you to do things like run down a hallway, turn a corner, and line up the headshot nice and easy while they walk into it. Or zigzag through a building and then go stealth until they lose you, and then you have their back turned. Tip number 6 is about heals. You should always try to carry quick heals. Things that take less than 3 seconds to consume and heal for more than 20. If you ever have to make the choice between carrying 50 shields as a big pot or as 2 mini shields, you should always go for the minis. Even though big pots can get you back up to 100 shields, they take too long to consume in a fight, and that can often be the difference between life and death in zero builds. So I always recommend preparing for fights by going around and finding coolers and trying to get splashes out of them, or by stacking minis or shieldfish. If you can't find those healing items, then you gotta just take what you can get, and I'll usually go for 3 big pots or 6 slap juices for the extra mobility. Tip number 7 is about equipment. You should always be carrying mobility in zero builds. Shockwave hammers, shockwave bows, or even impulse grenades can get you out of a bad situation quickly and save your life. Or they can allow you to take the high ground or push an opponent quickly to finish a fight. You always need to be carrying mobility. If you can't find a mobility item, then your next best bet is defensive equipment. These are things like portaforts, bush bombs, or guardian shields. These items can give you good cover and save your life when you're out in the open, and you can use them creatively to get an advantage in a fight. Now, if you're out in the open carrying defensive equipment and you start getting shot and get hurt pretty bad, throw the equipment down and then immediately start fighting back. Don't take the time to heal, instead start putting shots back on your enemy. This will keep them from pushing you right away and finishing you off. This goes against most people's instincts, but if you give the enemy the time to push you without consequence, then that means they're gonna get in your personal space and you're not gonna be able to finish the heal, or you will be able to, but you'll be in too bad of a position to fight back. So it's better to take them by surprise. Remember rule 5, turning the fight around, and put shots back on them so that they say, oh shoot, I can't push anymore, I'm hurt, I gotta heal. And now you can heal up and reset the fight, or push them immediately if you have the advantage now. The best defense is often a good offense. Tip number 8 is about swapping weapons. If you really want to be a master of death, then you need to get good at swapping your weapons and using them at the appropriate ranges. I personally always carry a red dot AR for long range, a thunder pump for close range, and then a pistol or an SMG for a finishing weapon. One of the best close range combat skills that you can learn is maximizing damage output by shooting your shotgun, then quickly swapping to your spray weapon and landing a few shots, then swapping back to your shotgun to finish, or keep repeating that process. Practice this and you will realize how quickly you can swap weapons and keep the damage output going. This is usually the difference between winning or losing a fight in open space at close range. Whoever swaps weapons better and hits their shots is going to win. Alright, tip number 9 is about how to train everything we've just learned. We're going to do that with creative maps. The best Zero Build combat map available right now is Anvil Square Deathmatch by Pixelated Dreams, or Coney Crossroads Deathmatch if you can't find a match in the Anvil Square version. The code for these maps is on screen now. In this game mode, you'll be playing against players all using similar common grade loadouts in Anvil Square. You'll be in constant combat against formidable players, and you can practice looking for advantages, using good cover and positioning, and swapping weapons like we just discussed. You'll probably run into some pretty skilled players, but this is a good thing. Learn from them, do your best, and you'll quickly become a much better player. If you do this, your skills are going to increase a lot faster than just playing Battle Royale, where most of your time is spent in the lobby or running around looting or looking for other enemies. Now, if you feel like your aim and your close range weapon swapping still needs work and you can't compete with these players, I highly recommend trying the creative map called Aim Plus Mechanics by Xerix60. I hope I pronounced that right. The island code is on screen now. Pick the current season weapons and then head into the 1v1 versus bot. Here you'll be able to practice your close range aim and weapon swapping versus a jumping bot. Now keep in mind you can probably swap between the shotgun and SMG or pistol faster than you think, so test the boundaries of how fast you can swap and then slow down from there. If these maps are not doing it for you, then try browsing in the creative directory for deathmatch maps or gun games that have no building. Red versus blue is always a popular one that definitely works. The only problem about these game modes is that they use cheesy weapons and have ridiculous upgrades that you'll never find in a real game, so it's not a great simulation. Okay, keep a lookout for more Fortnite Zero Build videos from me. If you're really committed to becoming a better player and you're willing to put the effort in, then you definitely need to watch this video above. That video contains a system to exponentially grow your gaming skill. Click that video above to watch it now, and I promise you're going to get value from it. And if you found this content helpful and you want more, smash that like button and subscribe to my channel for more awesome videos. Shinobi out.